Hello, it's John, Vintage Fisherman. I'm back. I got another ambassador. Hey. I know. I know. Picked this one up from a local YouTuber. Um, he found it, thought of me, and he's mostly into trout ultralight and does some catfishing. He bought it for catfishing, but decided to go a different route. And asked me if I want it, and I said, "Yeah, sure." And it's got a problem. It won't disengage the spool. It won't cast. So let's see what the problem is with it. This is unusual for these ambassadors. This is a 5,000. It's a not a C or anything. It's just plain old 5,000. It's serial number 740903. I think it's a 1974 model. I have to get the chart out to look at. I need to get that chart just hanging up in here because I'm always looking or asking when these things were made. There's experts out there, man. They can just it was made this date, that date. We're going to go ahead and go into the tail end of it here first. Before I lose them, I take those little plastic centrifugal weights off. That's held on with an E-clip, so we're going to clean that by hand. Go into the palm plate here. This is a right-hand reel, and you know I'm I'm right-handed, but I use left-handed reels. So what am I going to do with this reel? I don't know. I don't think I'll sell it. I've got a few of these beautiful little cherry red 5,000s. It may just, the right-hander may just go on the shelf with them, you know. If somebody wants one, I'll do a little horse trading. They might have something I want that I use a lot. Take the level line part. That off. You can slide this to one side. I occasionally buy a right-hand reel just because the price is right. Just because I'm not going to use it doesn't mean I don't want it. I bought this nice 35th anniversary 5,000 here. This is just the younger brother of this guy, and you know I'm gonna clean it up, and I don't know if I'll sell it, or shelf it, or what. It's a nice little reel though. I really like these reels. These reels are awesome. Let's take the cog gear off. These have a screw, unlike the newer ones that have a. Well, the new ones, new style, has a clip, and the newer ones actually just have a little couple of ears that clip down over. Now let's go back to what I was saying. The gear has a couple of ears that slide down and clip onto the shaft. I don't like those too much. That's neither here nor there. You got a felt washer. No shims in that one. This one has bushing. We're going to take it out. Got a kind of, there it goes. Got a little E-clip in there. The bushing will push out. You can change these to bearings. They're hot rodding these reels nowadays. You can bearing both sides of the shaft, and they move pretty good. They'll cast. It's kind of a new fad in reels right now, is to hot rod these old ambassadors. This would be the top end of size. They're usually hot rodding the smaller ones, 1,000s, 2,000s, 3,000s. They're right-handers. They're very hard to find. These 5,000s are pretty common. There's nothing special about this reel. It's easy to find. We're going to find out what's going on with this one here real quick. Off. Tension off. It's in here. It's all together wrong. That's not supposed to be in there like that. They put this was supposed to go, two of these supposed to go over here. Should be one or two over here on this side whenever I get them. There's two. One of them just hit the floor. I really got to get me a better pick. Let's see if one of these picks. Just pick these picks up. Let's see if these picks will do it. There we go. Look at that. So two of those go over here. Somebody's been into this reel. Aggravates me. Let's see if I can find my one that went flying. Falling down here. Oh gosh. Herniated disc and bending over like that. Not a great combo. We'll get through it. There's that. Let's go into this cover. There's a bearing there that you can go ahead and slip out. That one needs a different screwdriver. Always match your screwdriver to the slot. I recommend a good quality screwdriver. I'm using Snap-on. Nothing at all wrong with the Harbor Freights for the smaller Phillips straight blades. These are the Precisions. These are work really well. You'll pay $100 for that set from Harbor Freight. I mean, from Snap-on. Just saying. It's all in how much money you want to spend. I got a deal on these, or I wouldn't have them. My Snap-on guy was by work, and I said, "Hey, I need some precision screwdrivers, medium size." He's like, "I got a set back there that I haven't been able to sell. Make you a deal." I got them for about half what they were originally listed for. All right, let's pull this off. Everything looks good there. There's nothing else to take apart. That's to the side. Where's the mouththesis at? Ah, this is stuck. This is stuck. This plate right here, I ain't too sure if it's together wrong. Take it apart. Drag stack. I can't tell you if that was right or wrong, but somebody's been in here. Drag washer. He's nasty. This drag washer stuck. Still good though. Just clean it all up good. So up under here, these are supposed to move and they're not. Get the anti-reverse dog off. It won't come off. All right, let's take this off. There's a shim underneath there. Pinion out. See, when you push this down, these are supposed to. Oh. 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 This is too easy. Okay. So somebody's been in here and they've got this on. These two posts are supposed to be on the outside. They might be a bit of a bear to fix because it doesn't really, you can't really take these plates apart, but let's see what we can do with it. I don't normally even go into these plates, I'll be honest with you. You got a short spring was over here for future reference. Okay. This needs to come off. Longer spring. We're going to go ahead and pull this spring. It's a medium spring. Long, short, medium. The medium went right here to here. Remember that, John. How did they get this thing so far off? Because you can't take these off. I wonder if this reel ever worked right. It's been used, though. I have to say this is an interesting turn of events here. I never expected this to be the problem. I can't really see how I'm going to fix that. No, it's supposed to slide like that. Maybe I'm wrong. It would be the first time, right? And then that would pop that. I think it was just stuck. We're going to go with it was stuck. We're going to clean it good. And I believe it was just stuck. These two levers were stuck. They're supposed to move pretty freely, and they're moving now, but they weren't when I got it. So when you I've over traveled it now. So the springs, as you push this in, let's put the springs back on. So here's a lesson for you. If you got yours apart at home, think about this for a minute. And you're having this same issue, because this is the first time I've run into this. This can't be a very common issue. Spring back on there. Maybe it is a common issue, but I've never run into this. I'll be honest with you. Big chunks of grease falling off of this thing, which that doesn't help the operation of it at all. I'm fighting this one spring because it's kind of hard to. I got a pick somewhere. My brand new picks. Where are they at? There we go. Sorry you had to see my bald head. That. We're going to spray it down good and see if we can get it freed up. Okay. So that's how those go. Yep. See there? And then as you rotate around, it catches this one. So this guy here, see those two pegs. See? That's all it was. It was just locked up. So if you run into this problem, and I'm going to post this video in a couple places, because if I've run into it, somebody else has probably run into it too. Like I said, when you rotate this around, it's going to pop that one and pop that one, and your thumb release will come up, spool release. See there? So all it was this, and this part was just stuck to the plate. So they call this a brake plate on the. And why they call it a brake plate? Because you have the brake. This would be like a brake drum on your car, and those little flyweights fly out and hit that, and it slows your spool down on your casting. So this is called a brake plate. So we're going to clean that up, and this is going to be a good reel. There's nothing missing. It was just gummed up. I'm pretty happy with that, folks. Real happy with that, actually. All right, I'll be back when I put it back together. Hello, this is John. I'm back. Got this beautiful old 5000 back together. It's from what I say at the beginning of the video. It looks like it's September of 74. Or it could be October. I can't remember if they skipped a digit. I can't remember if 0 is actually 1 and then so on. And it's revision 03. So it's a 740903. We'll say it's 74. I was a kid. I was 8 years old. I'm not upgrading this reel, but what I wanted to show you is they do make bearings for these reels. That would be the replacement bearing for it. As you can see, it's the same size. I'm not doing that to this reel. I want to keep it original. And you can get the drag for it. 1987 and older, Carbon Tex drag set number 079. Okay, so that's Dad's old tackle. I'm not sponsored by those guys, but I buy a lot of drags from drag washers, Carbon Tex. It's the best one-stop shop I found for Carbon Tex for the Ambassador. So that's a couple of upgrades that could be done for these reels. I keep plenty of upgrades on hand, bearings and Carbon Tex washer sets. So I've always got stuff ready. Let's put it together. You know, I found that the brake plate was froze up. That's why the reel wasn't actuating properly. So we'll come to that last. I'm going to go ahead and put together the level line. Get it in there. I expect this reel to just be slick as a ribbon when I get done with it. All right. Then the worm gear. And then the retainer. We'll drop some oil on it here and there. Flipped up in there just a little bit further, obviously. There we go. You'll know if that's not all the way over, this retainer won't slide up on there easily. And a little drop of, I'll use Lucas down in there where the level line pawl goes. Sometimes I have to use tweezers to get that in there, but I got it this time. Now, if it doesn't sit flush, put a little pressure, just light pressure, and it'll turn the gear on the level line, and it'll pop in place. And then just another drop of oil there. And then the cap. There's no shims under this cap. On some of the Shimano's, they do have a shim. Other brand reels, Daiwa, etc. But this Ambassador does not. Or these Ambassadors that I have found. Now it's time to oil all this up, because you got a bearing here, right? It's just bushing. You got a bushing in there, and you got the worm, and that little groove up inside that post. That upper part of the level line guide rides in there. So you want to give that just a little bit. It'll cast a whole lot better if that thing's smooth. This drags the cast down pretty bad on these reels, so just keep that in mind. Next up is the cog gear, I guess they call it. Put it on there. Give it a little bit of oil. I don't normally put anything on the plastic gears. Maybe just a drop of oil, okay? But it doesn't really need anything. Just a dab of grease where those threads go. Okay. All right. Now we're going to put the bushing in. We're going to put the bushing in. Oh, it'll only go one way. That's pretty cool. I've never really noticed that. Maybe it was something they did later on, but I've never noticed that on reels. It's got like a little, of course it fell out of place, but there's like a little notch punched into that bushing where it'll only go in there one way. So it really wants to be a pain. There it goes. And then you've got your keeper that goes down in there. Don't lose that. Pops in there like that. Then on your cap, I'm going to give it just a drop of oil. Then a shim. This one, remember when I took it apart, whoever had it apart before me had it together wrong. It had all the shims on the, it's like they put the reel together and said, oh, where'd those go? And they just threw them in there somewhere. You put the shims in, and then you put the Teflon washer in. Okay? Teflon washers keep moisture out of the reel. And just a little dab of grease on those threads. It'll smear itself around. You got a notch. Line that notch up. Well, you might have to go in a couple of threads. See that notch lined up with that wire? That wire is a pointer telling you how much preload you have on your spool. So if you change lures, and you were using a lure earlier and it was on 6, and you go to a 10 or 9 or whatever, and you have to go back to that lure, you go back to a 6, you see how it works. Okay? And we're ready to put this side together. A little bit of grease in those screw holes. This is a 3-screw reel, but it's not super old. They started putting a dummy post in there at some point on the stand, or, well, Penn calls it a stand. Ambassadeur calls it a reel seat. Well, they probably call it something in Swedish, but that's beyond me. I can barely speak English, much less Swedish. So I speak Southern. I'm good at that. And some would say, well, Virginia's not the South. This part of Virginia is. Go over to the east side of Virginia, ain't nothing south about that place. They don't even know how to make barbecue over there. But anyway, put this thing together. All right. So there is the palm side. We'll leave that right there. First step to this is to get the pinion gear on it. I'm going to set the reel like I'm going to cast it and push the button in. Freeze that up real good. Put that in there, and then I'm going to throw the reel. Pop it back down. There we go. And we'll give that some grease. Next step is this washer goes on that post, and then the anti-reverse dog You got two little teeth. And what you want to do is slide that on there. Make sure those teeth are in pretty good shape where that anti-reverse dog is lined up with that anti-reverse gear, I guess. You want it like that. And then you're going to take this thing. I'm going to put a little go fast on this. I'm going to go on there, and you go put a little bit on that dog right there. And the dog's not going to want to clear that spring. I'm going to have to pull that spring back off. Okay, no problem. Then we can pull the spring off, put it on there, and then put the spring back on. I need some help with the screwdriver here. There we go. And of course, I spun it too far and popped that off. So with the housing in place, if you turn it, that friction will force the anti-reverse dog off the gear and spin. And then when you try to backspin it, it pulls it down. See how it works? And also we can check proper operation of the reel right there. So it's working right now. All right. Build the drag. Not a lot to these reels. I do put cowls on everything because this reel is going to ride the shelf for a long time. It's going in my collection. I don't have any of these from the 70s. Most of mine are older. So this one will go in my collection. Here's your gear, the main gear. We're going to get the grease down those teeth pretty good. Remember when I cleaned this thing up? In fact, I did a short about it. It was on this gear right here. It was really full of dried hard grease. I had to go through and I literally put a brush on my Dremel and brushed each tooth out. It was one of the worst I've seen. And it will have a lot to do with the reel not running good. Okay. Got the pinion gear lined up with the main gear. Now we got a drag here, drag washer. We're going to put some cowls on that, and I'm going to flip it the other way. And that's cowl. The cowls will keep the drag gears pliable for a long time. They won't get hard and brittle and break. And then this press plate, it's got the little grooves in it, little holes cut in it for that little tang dude right there. So when your fish is pulling drag out, it'll make a clicking sound. Isn't that cool? I kind of like that on these reels, but I digress. Now I'm trying to remember exactly how this stack went. Pretty sure went this, spacer, and then these two shims are, I think that's the way it went. Now we're ready for the cover. A little bit of grease in those two threads, screw holes there. Hold on. Center that up and go down on there. Oh, you see that? What happened there? Got to fix that. My anti-reverse dog popped out, and they do that. They'll aggravate the snot out. Get it all together. Back on track here. Now, there we go. Everything popped in place. You can hear it. It lets you know when it's home. Tighten those two screws down. Gotta thank the local YouTuber Cody of Rod in Hand Fishing for finding this reel for me, and we made a deal on. He bought originally I guess a group of reels. He was going to catfish with it. Realized he probably needed something a little bigger with a bait clicker, and so wanted to know if I won. I was like, hell, heck yeah, I'll take any Ambassador I can find. I prefer the lefties, but ain't nothing wrong with a right-handed reel. Now this one's got that little notch in it too, the bushing. So we're going to put it in there, okay? And there's no snap ring on this side, okay? What you got is, when this was together wrong, takes a shim. Look, let me do something else here. Well, I'll just soak some oil up under it. I got it back out. A little drop of oil, shim, drop of oil, another shim, and then your felt washer. One shim doesn't want to settle in there. Okay, and then we're going to put just a dab of grease on those threads. Now this knob's not necessarily a tension knob on this reel, but it's a centering knob. It helps you get the spool centered up. Okay, let's put the drag knob on it. A little bit of grease. This is a right hand reel, so everything's going to go together in the normal rotation. Okay, and this reel did not have a washer, and I don't remember washers on these things. So, you notice I put some grease on there, but before I button this thing up, I'm gonna take the Lucas oil and go down in there and oil that shaft really good one more time. Then you gotta put the handle on first, and then you can put this retaining, holds the whole thing together. And then the nut on these handles don't have a retainer on them that keeps them from spinning loose. And I'm really surprised more handles don't get lost off these reels. Well, that's pretty daggum slick, ain't it? All right, let's do the spool on, which really isn't anything to do. It's going to get these little plastic centrifugal weights. They slide. You got to slide them all the way in. So what happens is when you're casting, you don't have to have those in there if you're really good with your thumb, you know. You can take one out and just run one, or you can take them all out, or you can put them both. I run with both in. I just get used to casting. I know how to do it, and that way it works for light lures or heavy lures. But when it casts, those weights fly out and go inside of this drum here. That's why they call this the brake plate on Ambassador. It goes inside there, and it's the brake. It's the casting. That's the only casting control you have on this reel. Now I'm going to lube, and I'm probably everything's going to fall around on me here, but I'm going to lube this up and slide it up in there. Okay, and then I'm going to lube this in. Try to hold it together. I need to lube up in there too. I need to put some Go Fast down in there. Go. Put this in. Of course, the thumb screw or the thumb spool release goes back here. Hold on. Skip one of my own important steps. A little bit of grease on those threads. Okay. Let's do this. This thing's fighting me. Let's put this end in first. I'm just going to have to watch those weights as I go in. It goes like this. There we go. That down. I always give these just a little, just an eighth of a turn, just so that they don't back out when you're out there fishing. Just snug them good. Okay. Need to adjust this spool tension. I'm going to tighten that one all the way down, because if I push that spool in, that looks pretty damn good. And we're going to take this one in. I would call that pretty damn good. That would be a 0 right there. I hear a little ting in there. It's where the spool's rubbing the end plates. Look at that. That's working the way it should. Not bad for no ball bearings. You know, these are really good reels. I just enjoy the Ambassadors. So, I can't get enough of them. One of my favorite reels to tear apart, put back together. They're super simple, in my opinion. I forgot to mention this. Once you find your 0, where you just a hair bit of play right there, you can take this little tab and line it up with that wire. That's 0. And then that ring turns underneath there if you're real careful with it. It's not corroded. And then you can adjust your spool tension right here to however much weight you're casting. You know, if you're casting a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait or something, you might want to dial a little more in. If you're casting something really super light that's not going to put a big spin on the spool, what weight line you use is very important. I prefer on all the Ambassadors, the round model bait casters, I usually run 12-pound test. So maybe the 6500s I would run 15-pound, and 7000s I would run maybe 17-pound as I go on. If I got to go higher than 17-pound, I'm probably running a pin or something. But if I've got to go lighter than 12 on a bait caster, I'll go down in bait caster size. But there it is, folks. A nice 5000. Got to thank Cody for making me a good deal on it. I really like the reel, and it will go on my shelf. It's going to look real pretty sitting there. Rod and Hand Fishing. Check his channel out. He's a local. He fishes a lot of streams around here. Give him a shout. This is John, Vintage Fisherman. Please like the channel, or like the video, and subscribe to my channel. I've got a lot more coming. Like I've been saying for 3 months now, I'm in the middle of moving. I have moved. My house is empty other than the workbench you see right here. So I'm just enjoying coming down here after work now and not having to be moving or cleaning or whatever. And I got a lot more to come. Let's just look at some of the things I got coming up. I've got 3 of these pin 535s coming. I got 2 with me right now. Another one coming in the mail. I use these for drum fishing on the Outer Banks. I'm hoping to get down there this fall. I like these because I can cast them easily. It's a high capacity reel that you can cast. So it's 400 yards, a 15-pound test. If that don't get it done for, and I'd probably run 17 on it. That will handle a drum. And so I like these, and I like the older pin, like the 970, 980s. 990 is a little bit big. Of the new, I think it's squeaky. I'm getting ready to do this one in a little bit. But if I had to go bigger than the 980, I would, I don't know what I would be fishing for bigger than the drum. For pure fishing for drum, I use a squall, like a squall 12, squall 15. I use the newer stuff. But anyway, this is John, Vintage Fisherman. Thanks for watching. Stick around. There's going to be more coming. Talk to you later.